Hey Insider, we got a special guest joining us today who've recently graduated from the LMA course, and he'll be sharing with us his experience on board this journey, how he found the whole journey and everything in between. So if you're currently watching this and you're sat on the edge of possibly joining LMA and you're wanting to know more or even discover some of the secrets, then be sure to pay close attention because we're really in for a good one today. So just want to start off with a quick introductory question. What's your name? Where you're currently based, and what do you currently do?
My name is Hassan, and I'm actually based out of Atlanta, Georgia. That's in the United States, and I'm a real estate broker.
Okay. So, Asan, let's start here in terms of just rewinding time. Before you had joined LMA, do you mind just kind of like sharing with us what were some of your inner problems you were experiencing in your life back then? How was it showing up in your life, and why was it causing you issues?
Well, I actually was having a lot of issues in my personal life with my marriage. My wife and I, we were possibly going to go through divorce, and she also happened to have a medical illness that we didn't know if it was going to turn into cancer. Even to this day, we don't know. And I have a 7-year-old daughter, so it was just kind of a lot of things happening at the same time. And I was trying to seek clarity, and so I started looking for things, to kind of help with that. And then I came across LMA to kind of seek that clarity.
Right. So you were having relationship related issues and
Yes.
just other things happen in your life that was creating issues for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it making you feel internally that was causing you problems?
I was feeling lost. I was feeling in a dark place. I felt like I was losing it. And honestly, a lot of different thoughts were going through my mind of whether I'm going to be able to get through this and how I'm going to cope with it. How can I help my wife? How can I help my daughter? Because I was losing focus. I was losing clarity. I was feeling hopeless in whatever was coming through. And that was, I think, like the pivotal point for me to like really seek something more than what I thought I could do for myself to help myself in that situation.
Mm. So you're feeling hopeless, you're feeling lost, and all these emotions. Did people around you know you were going through these sort of inner issues?
Well, maybe one or two people that were very closest to me. It's not that I like to keep everything private from the people that I love, but it's not necessary that all the people that are in your lives that you call loved ones can all help you in what you're going through. And sometimes you just see guidance in the places where you think you can get most of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the reason why I'm asking is sometimes in our darkest times, actually don't reach out for help as well. You know, we
Yes.
don't let others know, which is perfectly normal, but it can, of course, lead to further suffering and so forth. So around this time, Asan, what were you doing in terms of personal growth to resolve this issue? Like, what was you turning to and so forth?
I did turn to counseling, and there was some level of clarity in moving forward, not just from the aspect of our marriage, but also seeking clarity personally. It helped to some degree, but the real help came in the form of LMA for me. Um, Before that, I just kind of felt like I was just kind of finding things that kind of, I guess, like put a band-aid on a bigger problem that was happening internally.
Mm,
And LMA just kind of just took that band-aid off and just gave me the clarity that I was looking for, not just with the problems that I was facing,
yeah.
but a lot of the internal blocks that existed in my life since I was a child, and the abuses and things that I kind of said to myself that I was fine with, but I really wasn't. I really wasn't. I was in a place of where I just found my way of, just holding on to them in places in my mind, kind of like just putting them in these closets or like compartmentalizing them. But it was all there. It was just like waiting to come out and kind of like, explode.
Mm,
Uh, and LMA, it couldn't have come at a better time than what I was going through in the moment.
okay. Before we start exploring LMA, do you remember how you even came across LMA in the first place?
Well, actually, it's an interesting story because, as I told you, I was going through a lot of different issues.
Mm.
So one of the things that I was doing was looking on YouTube for motivational things to kind of just push out those mind blocks that I was having constantly. And I was like, I just need some clarity. I just need to get these thoughts out of my head. And then your ad pulled up, and first I saw it, I was like, oh, it's just one of those ads. I'm just like, I'm gonna leave this alone. And then it popped up again. Then another day, I'm like looking at something, it pops up again.
Okay.
So I finally mustered, I was like, you know what, let me give this a chance. Let me see what this is about. I click it, and it takes me to this other page, and it talks about these secrets of life and stuff like that. And something about those words kind of just stuck to me. And then it called upon, like, like there was like a free webinar.
Mm.
And I said, well, it doesn't hurt to, sign up and see what happens. I'm not committing to anything right now. And, in the back of my head, I was thinking it's going to be one of those things where I sign up for something and then I forget that I actually scheduled it, and I'll miss the opportunity to ever see it. But then you didn't let me, your systems that were in place didn't allow me to forget about it, because I got an email from you. I got another email reminder. I got another email reminder.
Right.
And when I read your email, it was like the words just really caught my attention. And I said, no matter what happens, it was that Saturday. And my wife didn't know that I was going to be sitting in for this webinar. I said, listen, I don't even know what it is, but I'm booked from this time to this time. Just like, just know that I just won't be available. So I sat down and I just, started listening to everything you were saying in that webinar. And that's how I got
Wow.
started.
And how long was this ago?
This was back in, I believe it was March,
Wow. Okay, so you're sat there back in March and
back
you
in March.
dedicated this time to watch a class with some random Asian guy you've never come across in your life before.
Correct, correct.
So when you got involved with that free masterclass with us and then eventually got a chance to join LMA, if you were to be bluntly honest, what were some of your biggest fears, doubts, or skepticisms you had about the LMA course, and what ended up putting that to rest for you?
So that webinar, the free one that you offered,
Mm.
everything that you said, everything that you were putting out there, and I could tell that there was a lot of information, and that information was not just information, it was information that was based on a lot of research that you had done personally. And there was just this level of sincerity in your voice, sincerity in the fact that you wanted better for everyone that was watching, and you wanted the audience to be exposed to this world that we perhaps have never ventured into,
Mm.
with all of the wisdom that you were sharing. That day was enough to tell me that whatever I'm committing to, that inner voice inside of me just kept saying that no, he's honest, he's sincere, he's genuine, and he really does care, but I got to meet him somewhere in the
Mm.
middle. And that day I just signed up. And when you locked it in with that 30 days risk-free guarantee, I now there was like no level of self-doubt that this guy is more interested in me than I am, like might hold up any excuses as to why not to sign up. So I
Wow.
just said, I'm gonna go all in.
Yeah. Well, firstly, before we start talking about that, you've got great attention to detail. You're one of the few who've actually noticed that because when I offer that guarantee, it does mean I have to deliver if you think about
Absolutely.
it.
Yes.
Otherwise, because it's unconditional, you know? And so, in a way, yeah, I'm glad you noticed because in a way, it forces me to make sure the content is at next level as well. So, you end up taking that leap and joining us on board LMA. When you got involved with our work for the first time, getting started with week one of LMA and getting involved with the community, what initially made you feel the happiest about this decision of yours of joining us on board?
From the time that I interacted with your team, with Success Insider, they were very friendly, very prompt, and out of the world type of service, that it was just out of just this genuine care and love that they were just, you asked for something and they would just be there to respond and guide you right through it. It was just another level of, trust that was building. As the trust was already built from that first webinar with you, it
Mm.
just made just complete sense that, I'm in good hands, and that this entire community is made of people that genuinely care before they're looking out for their self-interests. And that is very, very hard to find in anything, whether it's this, speaking mastery, or anything like, as for that I have come across from a company that
Mm.
delivers on this level. It is just out of this world.
Well, firstly, really appreciate the compliments. You were saying earlier, in terms of you were having counseling sessions to get more clarity, feel less lost, and so forth. But LMA really helped me.
Yes.
So, how does LMA differ from what you were going through in terms of counseling sessions? What makes LMA different?
Well, Alice, I had spoken to Alice many times, and I told Alice that, to me, LMA is a culmination of a life manual that perhaps we've never received, our parents may have never received. And it's just a culmination of all these different things that, if you put it all together, you would know how to move in life with clarity, no matter what challenges, obstacles, setbacks, whatever your story is. It's going to give it that purpose. It's going to redefine how you think of things. It's going to redefine how you carry yourself, how you interact with people, how you spiritually believe, because LMA is whatever everyone's belief system is. It goes hand in hand with whatever your philosophies on life is. And that's amazing when you add LMA with whatever your spiritual belief is. It's just this ultimate power that's like just sitting inside of you if you truly harness it. And
Mm,
that's how I kind of see the bridge between the two.
right. So, when did you personally begin to see changes on board LMA? What week of LMA and what sort of changes?
Well, I would say it started with week one, because one of the things that you had mentioned in week one was about confidence. And it wasn't that confidence that all of us come across about, we look at somebody, they carry themselves a certain way, and we're like, oh, that person's confident. It was more of the confidence of how we either gain trust within ourselves to have confidence in ourselves, or we lose it because we don't hold up to our own promises.
Mm,
We're so busy looking at what other people, fulfilling their commitments, fulfilling their time slots, whatever that might be. But we're not really doing that for ourselves, and we're not coming with that full commitment because we know that no one is watching us. But in reality, our brain is watching us, and we're programming our brain when we don't show up for ourselves for whatever we say, even if it's the smallest thing we say that we're going to do for ourselves. So it was a total eye opener for me, because it really, really made me to grab onto all of the reasons in my life where I lacked something, and I went back to what was in week one, and I reflected upon that more and more. And when I started changing that habit, I started seeing just this profound effect inside of me where I was just calm and at peace, that I'm serving myself first before I can do that for others. And if I can feel good inside of myself, that's only how I can resonate that energy into someone else.
wow. So, the more you made your word law, the more you felt that sense of inner power within you to keep moving forwards. That's awesome. When was your next shift or like change? Like, what week of LMA?
I would say another one was in week 5. And I think the week 5, because I did season 14 back in March when you did it, and I also did season 15 when it came up right now. So what's amazing about this body of work is that every time you keep coming back to it, and I love the words that, the sentence that you say, I already know that,
Mm,
and that kind of hinders you from learning and growth. And I reflected on that, and I keep coming back to LMA as if like I'm doing it for the first time, and taking again, the wisdom, because it's not going to sit in with you the first time that you do it. You just have to constantly keep coming back to that work. And sometimes things might be happening in your life that might be a reflection of what you might be relearning again. And so in week 5, one of the things that you said was about taking people's opinion versus taking people's advice. And something had showed up. It just happened in the same time that week 5 was going on, and it showed up in my life about taking someone's opinion and advice, and you don't take someone's advice if they're not on the same journey as you.
Mm.
And that really struck that week for me. And I was just like, it just constantly just keeps on touching the right places in your mind when you go back to LMA, and when it shows up in your life, you're like, you know how you say knowledge is for the mind and experience is for the body. So I experienced it in week 5, and when I reflected on that problem, as big as it seemed, it just felt so small to me that I was able to channel through with that wisdom and just push through with whatever the circumstance was at the moment. So that
Nice.
was amazing and very powerful.
That's awesome. So hopefully you took the advice.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Sounds like it.
Like you're talking, it's like you're kind of LMA is like, it's like when you go back to it, it's like you're speaking to that person in that moment, but
Yeah.
you're really not there physically.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
amazing.
So you're talking a lot about the LMA course, the methodology. In terms of the support group, the community, what sort of benefits did you get from interacting with our LMA community and support group? How did it help you?
So I'll be honest, in season 14, I procrastinated. I told myself I was going to get involved. And for one reason or another, making excuses, I did not. But season 15 came and something just changed. I I was feeling like camera shy. I wouldn't want to get in front of the camera. I wouldn't want to do anything live. And then the moment I started doing it, and I saw that pouring support, that pouring love from everybody in the community just coming back, and the energy and the enthusiasm and everything, the way that you set it up, it's just, there's no reason for failure. There is no reason for failure. There's no reason to be hopeless. There's reasons to just see abundance all around you in every form. And the entire community is in support of that wisdom, in terms of that learning, in terms of that growth, and just so much positive flow of energy in the community that, there's no way that even if you are down in the hole, there's no way you're going to stay there with that type of support.
Right. So you started this interview by saying you were feeling lost, you're feeling hopeless on some of the days before you had joined LMA. Now, having gone through LMA, how has your life gotten better?
I Number one, I start my day with the affirmations, the LMA affirmations. I go and look at your morning videos from the LMA journey, even in the days when I feel like something low might have happened the day before that might be still on my mind, and I immediately want to just transition out of it. I watch that video and it just gives me a lot of peace and comfort. So now, whenever I see a challenge or problem, rather than diving too much and thinking too much into it, I'm like, how can I move past this? And what is this here to teach me? What is this here to teach me? And then whatever that answer is just keeps me pushing through every day. And the people that I meet, they started seeing that positive flow of energy. And sometimes it's like too much for them because they're still in that limiting beliefs, and they're stuck in their problems, stuck in their excuses.
Mm.
And I'm always like just pouring in with a lot of positive energy, trying to push them out. And it's kind of like there's like a clash of the minds,
Yeah.
because they're kind of stuck in another parallel universe, and I'm just flowing with just something different, and they're just like, what's happened with you? And
Mm.
so I'm seeing that change in me, and I'm seeing the type of things that it's pushing me to do every day. And it's leading to a lot of abundance of wealth, information, knowledge, and growth from a business perspective, even my personal relationships, how I deal with my 7-year-old, how my communication is with my wife at home. All of those things are just forming to be so different, and a lot of awareness, a lot of it.
That's awesome. So, firstly, thank you so much for sharing with us your experience on board LMA. Now, somebody will be watching this video, Asan, because they're currently perhaps sat on the edge. So they may be thinking of joining the journey, maybe not. What advice would you give to this person right now who's actually watching you, listening to you, who's currently thinking of possibly joining LMA?
It I it made wonders happen for me in my life, and with not just the problems that I had right now, but a lot of the abuse that I've been facing since I was a child growing up. And no matter what might have happened to someone, no matter what their journey is, what their problems are, what challenges they're coming out of, if you have sought different places to get those answers, to get clarity, whether it be friends, whether it be family, whether it be whatever type of community circles that you might have ventured out into, LMA is truly this life manual that you've never been exposed to, that you have never seen in that way. And I am not a certified counselor or anything, but I can say that it is really just gives you total clarity in whatever you're looking for in life, whatever your problems might be. And the fact that, Tim, you offer that with 30 days risk free, there is no brainer that someone at least should not do that one time for their life to see what it can truly do for them. And that's the chance that I took with you. And I am amazed with the results, and they keep coming in every single time. It's even excelled me to go ahead into other things that I'm doing with you now that I wouldn't have unless I really trusted the process. So whoever it is out there that's looking for that change, LMA will really give you the answers that you've been seeking in life from people or places. It's a culmination of everything life can give to you.